Heyo, what is happening, everybody? Welcome to another video. Yo, it's Wednesday. We're rocking, we're rolling. I hope you guys are having a great day. And we're talking about, does technique, and theory and all this stuff just kill feel? Does it? Does it? So before we get going, if you are going to NAMM this year, I will be there. I'll be hanging out. If you see me, I'll be playing a couple different times at the Vola booth as I sit here and play a PRS. And other than that, like I said, if you see me out there, say hi. I'd love to see some of you guys. And we're going to go ahead and dive on into this now. So let me know how you feel down below. And I'm going to kind of state my case of why it doesn't and it'll never kill your feel. Okay, so here's why I think that, technique and theory, I see it thrown around a lot, by players who'd be like, oh, don't waste your time learning how to shred or sweep or any of that stuff and learning a bunch of theory because, it's going to completely kill your feel. And I think that that's kind of a crazy statement to me because I think that certainly it can kill the feel that you like as a person. Like there are plenty of, incredible players who I don't necessarily like to listen to. The sound that they have is just not something that I enjoy hearing. It doesn't mean that they don't have great feel in their own regard. I guess it just really depends on what you call feel. And I think what a lot of people consider feel to be that very typical melodic, maybe even bluesy side of stuff. So like if you're playing something, and to me feel is just anything that evokes, some kind of emotion out of a person. So like whether it's something super chill, maybe that has feel. Maybe someone who hears that, they're like, that sounds terrible. That doesn't have feel to it. That just sounds like random notes. So the part of what I want to get at here is though, with technique and all that stuff, to me it 100% helps you deliver the feel that you want to deliver. So, if you don't like sweeping and all that kind of, more technical stuff, that doesn't mean that it, emotes any less feel or any more feel than anything else. It just means that it doesn't, resonate with you. So I think it's kind of an odd statement to someone who doesn't like that sound to be like, it has no feel to it. They just kind of discredit it as not being worth learning or anything like that. Because I know I spend a lot of time learning sweeping, and while it's not something that I use all the time, there have been total situations where I wanted that sound. I wanted that feel of it, like I love a big arpeggiated section. I don't necessarily do like the super crazy, crazy fast sweeps, but I definitely had, arpeggiated sections in songs, and I can't help but, notice that had I not worked on the theory of understanding how to outline the chords and just the overall technique of it all, I never would have been able to do it. It's just kind of one of those situations where, why limit yourself? Now again, like I said, if the technique does not speak to you at all, that just means that you don't enjoy that kind of feel. Like it doesn't mean it has any more or less. But for me, as a rock guitar player, listening to guys like Doug Rappaport, I've talked about him a bunch on here. Doug has this incredible style where I think he has, a very traditional feel with the bluesy kind of like AC/DC vibe to a lot of it. But he also has this really, really cool modern side to his playing with a lot of these arpeggiated sections, jazz chords and all this kind of stuff. So to me, to say like learning that kind of stuff just takes away feel is ridiculous. Now, like I said, there are players who focus very heavily on the technique side and maybe just necessarily don't have that melodic texture to it. So that might be, less feel to some. But what I think is really interesting is understanding how to put different feels out there with just note selection, not necessarily like phrasing, literally just note selection. This is where a lot of the modal theory side of stuff comes into play, because with this you know how to literally emit different sounds. Now if I just played pentatonic all the time, now you can have plenty of feel inside the pentatonic and blues scale, of course. maybe if I can even play the notes. You know, it's a very AC/DC kind of feel. Now that's all, you know, well and good, but what if I wanted it to sound, you know, again, going back to Doug Rappaport for a second, I always make the joke about his playing, not a joke, it's a compliment, because it's like you're listening to a blues song, and all of a sudden you find yourself in the desert, because he'll like go to this, he just, you know, modulates somehow to this crazy like Phrygian sound, so it'll be all bluesy. You know, all of a sudden, he went from blues to this like total Phrygian. Like right in the middle of a song, and I'm like, it's so cool. But it's knowing that background behind it that has allowed him to understand like the different feel that he's going for. So, like I said, but with that, for example, so that's Phrygian. It's a very dark. It makes, you know, like you're in Egypt, you're in a desert. You also have to know what kind of chords to put behind this stuff. Now, like I said, and there's situations where it's like, I want something really fast in there, you know, whatever it's gonna be, but it would sound really, really cool, because I know for me, like, again, this is just personal preference, I get tired of hearing slow playing all the time. You know, I love a player who has all the speeds, you know, slow, medium, fast. I want a player who has all of it, and again, you know, that's just, to me, that's really admitting feel. Or like someone like Joe Satriani or Steve Vai, who lean on that Lydian sound a lot. Like Lydian has a really interesting feel to it as well. And again, like without studying this stuff and knowing it, I don't think you could. I don't want to say never, because there are guys who just have incredible ears. But for average guys like myself, I don't think that my ear would be good enough to navigate me to these sounds. Like someone like Marty Friedman. His ear guides him a lot, to these different sounds. He gets these very exotic scales. But for me, learning this stuff allowed me to really connect what I was hearing in my head. All of a sudden, here was this sound that I had been hearing. I heard guys like Steve Vai and all that kind of doing that stuff, and I'm like, what is that? And I never really understood. Like, I would learn their stuff, but it didn't make any sense to me. How did they know to play these notes? So when I, started learning a little bit more about some theory ideas, then it started making sense. I'm like, oh, he's using a mode. Like, that's Lydian that he's using. That's how he knows what notes. Lydian has one of the strongest feels to it, it has such a unique sound. You have and then of course adding the whammy bars, adding to it as well. So like that's another instance where I'm like, I don't think I could have ever figured out that sound had I not learned some theory. So to me, I never really understood the point where people try to discourage someone from learning theory because it's gonna ruin their feel. Don't do all the shreddy stuff. It's gonna ruin your feel. There are so many players who can do it all. It's so cool because, like I said, sometimes like the fast stuff, it gets labeled as showing off, but sometimes it is the perfect thing in that moment. It's like, I don't think slow would have worked there. Whatever it would be, that was just kind of sloppy. Or another scale that has an incredible amount of feel to it is like harmonic minor or Hungarian minor. Both of them very, very strong, very dark. But, there's a harmonic minor. I always gravitated more towards Hungarian minor. I always love that little, chromaticism that's inside of that one. If you want to know the difference between the two, all you have to do is like take harmonic minor, you raise your fourth. Again, listen how dark it sounds. Tell me that doesn't have feel to it. So I'm sure I've blabbed at you enough. You can let me know what you think down below. Like I said, to me, I just think that, technique and all that stuff can never hurt your feel. It can only give you more options, more colors to the palette to kind of paint with. So I wouldn't let stuff like that discourage you. I worry that people who are more kind of like set in their ways when they say that stuff, it discourages a younger player from just wanting to learn like this stuff. Like maybe that younger player likes Yngwie, but there's this more experienced player who's like, you don't want to learn that stuff, you need to learn B.B. King, because I know that's what I was told when I was a kid, and now I appreciate B.B. King and blues guitar a lot more, but I didn't like it. Like I remember basically trying to force myself to listen to it, I'm just like, I just don't like this kind of music, but I liked Yngwie and all that stuff, so I'm really happy that I just kind of stuck with, I was like, no, this is really what I want to learn, like I like whatever this sound is. Because nowadays, I really don't listen to that kind of music anymore. I listen to a lot more blues. But, you have to kind of watch. I think, sometimes as you've been playing for a long time, like I've been playing for 13 years now, 13 or 14, however long it's been, we can forget the influence that we have on a person who's only been playing 1 year. We have to kind of just not be boxed in, because that might not be what that player is. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, get your guitars, play whatever you want, play however you feel, and I will see you all later. Friday, new video, and I think I'll leave you off here with some rhythm if you want to jam along. We were doing some harmonic minor stuff, so let's just keep that going. If you want to jam an A minor, a harmonic minor, shoot, you rock your pentatonic scale on this if you want to. So here we go.